been open, I'd like to see
Yeah.
it.
Just got one that wasn't.
Well, one of them was from Bruce Taft. That was one of them.
Oh, I got one too. Got a picture.
Yeah, those were opened, some of them from...
That wasn't open.
Yeah. But I just, it was just casually, I don't know, maybe who does or
The
who
our
might.
policy here is if it appears to be personal mail, it's not open. If it looks to be such as something officially that you're on some mailing list, let's say.
There might be something timely involved.
Right.
Maybe two things.
The other thing I had, two different people asked me about pedestrian crosswalks on Route 28, preferably down by Walmart. There used to be crosswalks there, where the lights are. And I don't know exactly where these crosswalks would go, but it might be something that,
I hope at the lights.
yeah,
People are trying.
it might be something that the safety officer could look at and whether there's a possibility of putting them in, but I guess the crosswalks that used to be there were eliminated for some reason. Maybe when they repaved the road.
Mr. Vino shares Route 28 with the town of Mount
Yes. The safety officer can bring the state in, he has to get their approval to do it. They are not going to allow it unless you make it handicap accessible also. So there's going to be a cost involved.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it cannot be done.
Aren't the new crosswalks? I believe they are, aren't they?
Yeah, but if you're gonna put in a new one,
No, there's none there.
there's not
It's talking
there.
about putting some
So
in
the
and not there.
curvings aren't accessible.
For handicap.
Curbings have to be, so the answer is, Mr. Smith, yeah, the safety officer can contact the state, they can look into it.
Two different,
But
it
you can't just
happened while I was in Walmart, to be honest with you, shopping. Two different people probably already recognized me, and they asked me if in fact, there was a possibility, because they both have children, both cross the street, going to Walmart all the time, and both were concerned, and it was funny because it was 2 different days. And I said, gee, I'll bring it up, and I meant to ask you about it the other day, and I had it on my notes. So if you can,
Chief and I are meeting tomorrow
yeah,
afternoon.
so it might be, apparently there is a lot of foot traffic that goes across. I've never seen it, but apparently there are people that do walk across, so I thought that was interesting. The other main one, and something that I've been bringing up for over 3 years, and I've asked you about this, Tom, and I'm going to ask for support on the board tonight to support me on it, but I've drafted this little memo up there, and I've asked the town administrator for over 3 years to formulate a policy to clean snow and ice from fire hydrants after a snowstorm to no satisfaction or resolution. Homes and businesses' properties burn in winter as well as in summer. Home insurance premiums are based on their location of fire hydrants. The reason for that is for quick application of water. We've got regulations in our zoning bylaws to install hydrants every 500 feet for fire protection of our residents. The people rely on our administration to provide leadership and guidance to ensure they are safe and secure in their homes or business both day and night, summer and winter. We appropriate money in the hydrant replacement program for repair every year to make sure they function properly. What good are they if they're covered with snow and ice when an emergency arises? We test the hydrants all summer to make sure they're functioning in good working order, and yet when the risk is greatest, we fail to clean them out. The negligence of this administration not having a program in place to clean fire hydrants of snow and ice will one day be a liability. When snow melts during the daylight hours, it freezes solid at night. The only way I know how to put out a fire is with water. To have to shovel out snow and chop away ice at a fire scene is inexcusable. Our failure to formulate a snow removal plan is placing our residents at great risk, as well as our police and fire personnel. We provide through taxation every possible piece of fire safety equipment, and yet we fail to clear the hydrants of the use of water, the most important tool at a fire scene. As I checked around town this past week, I found many hydrants without hydrant locator rods. These locator rods should be installed immediately. I'm asking the board to support my position of instructing the town administrator in cooperation with the Department of Public Works Director and the Fire Chief to implement the following program for clearing of hydrants without delay. Beginning no later than 1 day after the end of the snowstorm, the clearing of the hydrants will begin. Working personnel on shift at the fire department, as well as any available call firefighters, will begin this operation. The use of engines, pickups, and other available vehicles will be used to transport personnel from hydrant to hydrant. The Department of Public Works shall supply front-end loaders, backhoes, and pickups, as well as on-duty personnel to assist in the clearing program. Parks and Recreation personnel shall also assist in this program. A designated person will be responsible for the clearing program through a checkoff list. All hydrants are listed at fire headquarters. The reason I brought this up is, there again, we just had another snowstorm that consisted of mostly snow and rain, frozen materials. In fact, tonight, when I came over here tonight, I looked at a hydrant outside the St. Teresa's Church, completely covered with snow that was removed from the Stop and Shop, pushed across the street and just buried that hydrant. I saw other hydrants. This was only a small snowstorm. This was only a couple of inches. I've constantly asked and asked and asked to have some kind of a program put in place, and it's not there. And I just think we're playing with fire, so to speak. And I just want a program put in place to clear them. And if it costs us a few bucks, we should pay for it. If we have to have outside contractors to do it, we should pay for it. But at the bottom line is, they should be cleaned. They're cleaned in every town I know of on a regular basis within a certain amount of time after a substantial snowstorm. And I mean, I was on both these departments. I know what it is to go to a fire and have to break ice away from a hydrant. So all I'm asking is for this board to ask the town administrator to get together with Dave Hanlon and the fire chief and get a program in place, whether it's this program or something similar to this, but it's got to be done, and it should be done soon, because we are going to have a liability on our hands. So what I did is I drafted up 6 copies of these, one for each member, so you guys can look at it, ponder it over, and see what you think. And one was for the town administrator.
Did you send one down, Dave?
But Tom, I really would like to see something done. I don't know how many times I brought this up, but you get tired of listening to yourself talk. And, I just want something put in place so that they are clean.
Mr. Rowe.
One of the things that I mentioned when they were in here, the Route 62 project, and I'd like to see, and probably have to be done through the Community Planning Commission, would be the markers set in the roadway as to where the hydrants are. They use them now on Route 93. It used to be the snow would, plows would rip them out, but now they have them that the plows don't bother them at all. And they're a metal reflector, and you put it right in the center of the road, and you put it on either to the left of the center or to the right of the center, right opposite where that particular hydrant is. And they work great. There's no reason why we can't.
I don't really care what we do, but we should do
So
something.
they're not digging them out, they're just marking to let you know where it is, so if you need it, you dig it out.
Yes, what it is, it's they put them in the center, because
Right.
generally the center clears before anything else. Obviously, if you've got snow packed on top of it, you're not gonna see it, but anytime that road is clear, it's a reflective light, just like on
Right.
Route 93, you see those glass reflectors that they have right in the lane. And that's what it is, so that you put that marker right opposite where that hydrant is, on the same side of the street that's just,
Right.
to the right of the center line if it's on the right-hand side, but right opposite where it is, which is, like I say, I mentioned it on the 62 project, but I think it would be nice if the CPC, if we could get a bylaw to do it in all of the streets in the town, or all the new ones anyways, and as they resurface streets,
Yeah.
put them in,
Resurfacing would be the time to do it. And those reflectors.
which would go a long ways towards the rest of this program.
Those reflectors can't cost too much either. Any other comments, initial comments, Mr.
Well,
Vito?
I have a few comments on Mr. Smith's proposal. Just looking at it right now, Bill, without really having a chance to think about it. And I'll just kind of get on the list. Beginning no later than one day at the end of the snowstorm, the clearing of hydrants will begin. Then it goes into, and I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but it's going to be a money issue to bring in the call firefighters. I don't have a problem with that, but we're going into
No, I
budgets.
understand it's gonna
Yeah,
cost
no,
money.
no,
It
no.
should cost, of course, somebody's gonna have to pay for something.
Well, I know, but we're
The
going
thing
into
is,
budgets, and we always
should be
talk
done.
about budgets. I also do think there's some responsibility of the homeowner. I know I dig mine out, and I'm not the healthiest person in the world, but I do mine. But I agree, I have no problem with putting something in place. But here's where I start to have a problem. If we have a 3-day event, the Public Works is not going to be able to go up the 4th day and shovel hydrants. They're going to be dead tired from working basically around the clock. So they're going to be out of the picture. I don't know who's going to run the equipment. Yeah, I think your timeframe's a little too tight, Bill, to be very honest with you. I know there's going to be some contract issues here, even though you don't want to admit it. There is going to be some contract issues a change of working conditions and what's going on there. I won't go into that now. I have no problem coming up with something, but it's not as easy as I think, it may be. I think it is.
Mr. Young,
I'd be
comment?
more than happy to look at this and review with Mrs. Smith, but just my own swing in this regarding liability issue. If we make this into a policy, then it'll be the town policy that we will clear all hydrants. That if for one reason a hydrant isn't cleared and something happens to the house, is there a liability upon us? Because we've stated that we would do it, and the homeowner just sat back and said,
Again, you can couch that with, make every attempt to clear it on a
Right.
reasonable time basis and so on and so on and so on, and then you get into the. what's
Yeah,
wrong with it.
anything can be formulated.
This is a
but I just think
suggestion,
we
I'm
should
sure,
get-
but I mean,
Just
so-
something, just get something going, because it bugs the daylights out of them, because we used to do it. We used to clear them.
One of the things is I will make a remark too, as far as unfortunately, the markers that they put on the hydrants, we did attempt to do that at one time. And unfortunately, they ended up wrapped down around the hydrants.
Yeah, I'm sure that has happened too.
We had a lot, we did put a lot out there, and
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
the majority of them,
Get back.
unfortunately, the kids,
Get vandalized, yeah.
it's a fun thing or something, and they ended up being, it really didn't work out. We did try it, but that particular thing did not work out. That's why I think perhaps the things in the streets
The
would be much better, and, they're there, they're permanent, they're not gonna, there's
Well,
nothing.
most of the firemen know where these hydrants
Well,
are
I
anyway.
was just gonna say, Mr. O, isn't it true, don't they have that micro mini map? Do they have that mapping?
Yeah, the problem is,
Where the hydrants are?
the problem with that is, Joe, is that you gotta remember, when the number of streets you have in the town, the number of hydrants, and when you're going to the fire, you've got a lot of things you're thinking about.
Oh, I know, but
And they turn around and they, unfortunately, it's difficult to 100% locate that even on the map you have at the station, because you have to go by, it's 22 feet beyond pole number 557, because you run into areas where there's nothing but a telephone pole
Right.
that's near that hydrant in order to really mark it.
no, I think what I'm saying is I've seen dispatchers radio to the.
Oh, they will
units
tell
that
you,
they're
yeah,
going out.
your nearest
It's
hydrant
100
is-
yards down, right.
Right,
Yeah,
but
okay,
that's
all.
when,
I just
when
figured they had it.
like right now, or not now, but, if the streets are clear, they tell you your first hydrant's right on the corner of Pleasant and Elm. That's
Right.
no, where Pleasant and Elm, when you look and you'll see it.
Yeah.
But when you're in a
Oh,
snowstorm,
I understand.
and they say it's on the corner
So
of
if you have to
Pleasant
mark
and
it,
Elm,
you'll see it.
well, some are right in a sidewalk,
Yeah,
others are 5 feet in the back of a sidewalk, and if you've got 4 feet of snow,
yeah, I agree.
where is it?
I
Is
agree.
it in the front,
I
the
agree.
back, But yes, they do have a
They do
listing
like
of
that.
where they are, and they do assist you en route
Yep.
to give you an idea of where it is.
I'm just saying, Joe, within reason,
Oh, Bill,
it says a
I-
day,
yeah.
maybe it can't be a day because.
I agree, but it's,
Guys
I
aren't tired
just,
and stuff like that, but.
it will be a money issue, and it'll be a contract issue.
Well,
too.
I appreciate Mr. Smith's efforts, and obviously, when this becomes a problem, all costs will be moot, because, because when a fire happens and we can't find the hydrant, everyone will want to dig out, So I think you're taking a proactive stance. It's a great idea. It's to be edited, and obviously, it's the hardest thing, as I think Bob will tell us, is to come up with the first document. Editing is easy, so you've already started what we need to do, made us aware of that. I, for one, appreciate it, because I'm sitting here thinking, where is the hydrant near my house? And I know it's buried because the person who lives in that house is elderly, that it's in front of. So, you're right, something should be done. I'll go out with my explosives this evening, but thank you.
Take it out before it rises up, that's what I do.
Absolutely, you don't think of it,
Yeah.
because it's not on my property.
Yeah,
But if the fire were on my property, I think,
What are the wishes of the board? We wish to ask the administrator to take a look at implementing a policy of
Yeah.
trying to clear the hydrants.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a policy either, it's just, but it should be something.
Well, it's not a
in place.
problem of practice, I mean, it's something.
It's a practice that should
If you're not gonna have a policy, you're gonna have a practice, if you're gonna have a
Policy.
practice, you're gonna have, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
gonna have policy.
My guess is
then
it should
we'll
be
make
some
it a
sort of
policy.
policy, but I think it's gonna be something workable that allows enough flexibility to institute it.
At one time, I had talked to Mr. Hanlon, I believe he said it would cost something like